Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We have, well, the new events tab arrived in game. Plus, my first finish, I believe, ever in like a global leaderboard in an event for the panda. We're gonna come back to this absolutely ridiculous champion training. Because believe you me, I'm frustrated. I have a lot to say about that. Regrets, advice, and insight into anyone ever wanting to compete in that. Let's first take a look at this events tab, though. This was previewed for us in the sneak preview video. I think this looks brilliant. Awesome visual upgrade. You can click into it, the Festival of Frights, so we can see this is the theme for the next 3 weeks and 36 minutes, right? Those 36 minutes make a big difference. But no, it's the theme for the next 3 weeks. Halloween, which is super cool. We do have a bunch of events coming soon over the next few days, so they're going to pop in. I would like to actually see what these are. I think, telling me stuff is coming soon is okay, but I want to know what it is. One interesting thing, actually, if I just turn off my camera, it's easier. We do have an extra legendary Halloween event starting tomorrow. So that's not a massive surprise, right? They're back doing, they seem to have really enjoyed recently these shard events on like Tuesday, Wednesdays with CVC. That must have been a success. They started doing them sort of randomly now. This looks to be an extra legendary event. What is interesting is that it's showing ancients, voids, and sacreds. So could it be all three? Is this just a generic placeholder? Don't really know. Obviously, I will confirm that for you as soon as I do know. Most likely, I think it would probably most likely be ancients. I think we've had sacreds most recently. They've never done a guaranteed extra legendary voids before. If they did, they'd probably make a whole lot of money. So that would be an interesting one if that were to happen. But let's dive into this then, the Halloween Titan event. So this is a big event. This is on for 2 weeks and 2 days. So it is not on for the full Festival of Frights. It's on for the first part of it. I think that this is going to be including the Fusion as well, which is likely to start next week. Not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. Probably, maybe next Monday. Again, I would expect to be getting news about the Halloween Fusion in the next couple of days, maybe at the end of this week at the latest, would be my expectation. I think we're going to get the Halloween news, and it most likely starts next week, either Monday, more likely Thursday, like after CVC ends next week, would be my bet. This Titan event, though, 2 weeks, there's 1,500 points up for grabs. And there are some big milestone rewards. So, I mean, these little rewards here are basically nothing. These little rewards are basically very little. Here, I mean, there's a bit of essence. There's some oils. That's not bad. That's kind of nice. I do like oils as rewards. Greater oils over here. 6-star resistance glyph. Okay, void shard, primal shard. But the big rewards are really these final parts of the milestones. 1, 2, 3, and 4-star souls for Sun Wukong. In my opinion, this is absolutely well worth going for. 100%. This is something you absolutely want to consider doing. I just went super hard for a panda soul, and a panda soul is not even that useful, really. Sun Wukong, in my opinion, is an absolutely top-tier champion. He is my main nuker in the game right now because he's got such good utility. I think for most of you, he is probably... I wonder, what proportion do we think? I'd say it's probably like at least half of the viewers, right? Certainly anyone early in the game. He's going to be the best nuker on your account. Like, the guy is insane. He's got such a strong passive for survivability. I think he's really good, and he brings great utility. He's a great Hydra champion as well, doing good damage and bringing a super consistent buff strip and block buffs, which is brilliant for Hydra. There's so much utility in this champ. You can build him in like Phantom Touch or something for damage for Arena. You could build him in like Brimstone if you're using him in Hydra. There's a lot of ways to use this soul. I think this is very likely to be a fantastic use of your resources. It could be expensive, but I think you're getting a lot of bang for whatever book they're charging, basically, would be my thought. Milestone 5 then. So this is an extra 500 points on top of that. And again, there's really good rewards in here, but I'm expecting this to be hard to get. An Avatar, 6-star Haste Glyph, Superior Oil, Coins, 6-star Chaos. Like, these are all top tier rewards. These are some of the best of the best. But that does lead me to believe it's likely to be expensive. What sort of events are we likely to see for this Halloween point event? Well, the challenge, definitely, is the last time they did this was for it wasn't for was it for Ultimate Death Knight or was it something else in between? I can't remember what the last one was. I'm sure someone will let me know very quickly in the comments, and then we can you can double check that event as well. Uh, there were a ton. Maybe it was Ultimate Death Knight. There were a ton of summoning events that were required to do this, right? And remember, this is basically running before the fusion, at least 1 week of it. I wouldn't be surprised, guys. I would not be surprised if this extra legendary, this random summoning event in the middle of the week is going to be giving you a ton of points. I wouldn't be surprised if there was maybe a Hero's Path summoning event this weekend and that was giving you a ton of points. So I would be prepared for that, right? You might be needing to invest shards to get it. Now, hopefully the shard events are going to be what's needed for this stuff, right? And you'll be able to get the 4-star Sun Wukong Soul skipping most shard events. But I would be prepared to do every single non-shard event and probably be prepared to do one of the shard events as well to get this. Hopefully you won't need to do that, but I would definitely be prepared for the worst. No, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It's always it's a good adage for life. It's a great adage for playing Raid Shadow Legends. We'll check out this Dungeon Diver. It's going to start in 35 seconds. We'll get a gist. The other thing we know is definitely coming, of course, is this Fire Knight turn attack. So this should be overlapping with 3x Savage. Fire Knight turn attack should be with 3x Savage. It is part of the Halloween Titan event. So again, I'd be really recommending that you do this. It's an interesting point because your initial reaction would be, oh, 3x Savage. If I'm only using Demon Spawn and it's a turn attack, that's pretty difficult. That's quite hard. I'd much rather, farm the highest stage of Fire Knight I can possibly do with my best possible team to get as much Savage gear as possible. The reason I think you might want to do this Titan event is because you're likely to need the points. Let's check out Dungeon Divers here. It's just popped. So Dungeon Divers, yeah, there's 60 Halloween points here and 40. That's quite hard. 4,450. That's a lot of points. How long do you have to do this? 4 days? That's pretty darn rough. Like getting at least 1,000 points per day. That is not easy. It's a very big grind. I stand by what I said though. Like if you've got shards, you're going to do multiple shard events, then yeah, you could skip a Dungeon Divers. But if you are not prepared to have shards to pull and you want this Sun Wukong Soul, again, I would not feel comfortable at all recommending you to skip this. So that's going to be tough. Let me show you the team. I've threw together like a potential team. I haven't tested it, so I'm not sure if it would work. But my theory for like a sort of Fire Knight normal 20 speed farm team. I think the keys for this are going to be these 3 champs in the middle, and then these ones are also more bonuses to speed it up. But yeah, I think the 3 epics actually. So basically, we've got Allure is going to control turn meter on the boss. We've got decreased defense from our buddy here, Gorlos Helmal. And with the decreased defense from Gorlos, Magnar's going to destroy the waves. Now, you could bring in whatever else you want. I am going to be using a Kymar to basically reset and make the waves a bit faster. But you could use whatever you want in this spot. That's just going to make the turn attack a bit more efficient. And then I'm actually going to be running a Krutraxa who's going to be bringing a lot of single target boss damage. But again, that's not essential. You could have potentially Allure sometimes weak hit, but hopefully that won't happen too much. We'll see. Maybe the Krutraxa is not going to do enough damage. She's certainly going to take a lot of turns, right, with her extra turn mechanic. We don't have increased attack, so maybe it's not super worth bringing her. I'm actually not 100% sure. You can see Allure can keep turn meter down, no problem. You could maybe even make this team work on a different stage. See how many turns. You're going in with 42 turns, okay, with this particular team. I mean, Allure did do... No, Krutraxa did do the most damage. Like I said, she's definitely not needed. The Kymar's not needed. You could bring in other stuff if you wanted. I'm curious if you guys have a better suggestion. That was just my initial thought. But again, the epics are the key, right? Best wave clear with Magnar and Gorlos, and then the turn meter control. Oh, we actually can't see how many points we got for that. But like to put it in perspective, as a very, very quick rule of thumb, we got 15 points from that. Like if I grab a calculator, and we do like 4450 divided by 15, like that's almost 300 dungeon runs. I multiply that by, I actually forget how much stage 20 costs. Is it? I don't think it's 20 energy. Double check. It's gonna be a lot of energy. Stage 20 is 16. Yeah, I thought it was lower. multiply by 16. It's going to cost you, man, that's almost 5,000 energy in 4 days. Like, we divide that by 4, it's costing you 1,000 energy per day. Like, it is a ton. That's really, really tough. I'm curious. I'm very curious what you guys are going to do with the Wukong Soul. Let me show you my battle for a soul. Oh, man. This champion training tournament, like, guys, we need to talk, okay? We need to sit down and talk. In fact, I'm so annoyed, I might talk in 2 videos about this because I need to get it off my chest. So, what happened with this tournament? The first couple of days, people are only up at like 6,000 points. No one was doing it. So I decided at that point, like, okay, day number 2, no one's really going for it. You know what? I will go for this. So I grabbed the lead with a solid lead. And then I think by day 3, I was sitting at about 20,000 points and everyone else was at about 10,000. Then they were slowly going up over the next few days. Over the next day, people started getting a little bit closer to me. So I was like, okay, I'll work up ahead. Went up to 26,000. So last night I went to bed. I think I was around 26,500, and Sir Irakles was the closest. He was just below 20,000. So I was like 26,000. He was below 20,000. I woke up this morning. Sir Irakles had pushed up to 28,000. And then he slowly ground up to 31,000 then over the next couple of hours after that. But then he gave up. And this is sort of the problem, right? I'd been sitting comfortably at 26,000. And then he tried to burst past me from 20 past up to 31, which is a big burst, right? He did like 11,000 points very quickly. Problem with that, it's pretty tough to do 11,000 points. And you're kind of calling the bluff of the person ahead of you. So I very easily pushed up to like 36,000. And I stopped there. I was like, okay, 36,000. I'm way ahead of Sir Irakles at this point. And he gave up, right? At that point, he gave up. Then in like the last 10 minutes, this guy, Eric Mayhem, out of nowhere, came in. And I don't even know what this guy was on before. I think he was, at most, he was at like 20,000. So he went hard and he burst like 21,000 points in like the last 15, 20 minutes. And then what happened there was, well, I was already sitting at 36,000, obviously. I saw he was getting close to me. So I said, okay, fine then, buddy. So come at me. So I just burst more and was able to beat him. So I took him down. We look at the global leaderboard, right? I've never been so high. I'm number 16 on the global leaderboard. Now, that might slow down because I think not all of the champion training starts at the exact same time. People log in later, might be in a later one. But I think I'm number 16. This guy that we beat, Eric Mayhem, is number 45. So he is the 45th highest ranked person in the world right now. And he came second, right? Second. I mean, it's still decent rewards, but it's still second place. And again, it's like he has all the information there. I just think it's such, I don't know. I know some people like to do this burst thing at the end, and I think that can be valuable. But in my opinion, you have to be close because you're calling the bluff that you have way more burst than the other person will, or that they're not going to be paying attention. And that's such a big risk. Like, you can come in and invest a massive amount of resources and then lose because so long as they can match your burst, if they're starting ahead of you, you can never win. You can never come close. So we got absolutely destroyed. I don't know. I think it's a really bad idea. Like, here's the thing, right? He did like 20, 30,000 in the last like day. If he came in and did like 20 or 30,000 on day 1, he clearly has the potential to do massive. If he did that day 1, you know what I would have done? Would I have done 50,000 day 1? Hell no. Hell no. I would have been like, I ain't doing that. And I would have stopped, right? I would have stopped at like 10,000 or maybe skipped this event altogether and not bothered. And he could have won with 30,000 points. Probably would, I don't know. Sir Irakles seemed pretty determined to go. So maybe he would have had to do like 35,000 anyway. But he could easily have saved points and come first. The fact that he left it all to the end is what made me go. Because I was 36,000 points in, right? Like, I'm not going to back off. I'm 36,000 points in. And at that point, you've made it about pride. You've made it about fun. It's like, this is what we save for, right? Is to win these events. What are you doing, you know? Like, I can easily quit when I've not invested anything. But when I'm 36K in, like, you've just seen me consistently smack down Sir Irakles. Every time Sir Irakles gets close, I'm like, no, smack down, 5,000 points below, smack down, get back down. Consistently, You've come in and bam, you've got a SmackDown too. And it's like, what do you expect, man? What do you expect? Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I'm honestly, I'm also quite frustrated because I've just spent bloody 51,000 points for a Panda Soul, which is not bad. I do think Panda's cool. I'll probably do a cool video on him later. We'll go grab that. But it's certainly not what I wanted to do, right? I would not have done 50,000 points in a champion training if I'd known that's what I was doing before. And yeah, again, that's why I think the strategy, the smart play in these tournaments is come in and do a definitively good job, right? Come in and do a good job the first couple of days. Lay down your claim, stake your claim, and go bam. Here is like, I don't know, whatever, 15,000 points, pretty quickly day one. I've smashed out the event. Here's like 20,000 points day two, maybe even a bit more than that, right? And then be slow grinding it and save your burst for the end. You need to save bursts because you do have people that apparently try to snipe and will spend crazy resources trying to do so. So you need bursts to stop them. But man, do a bit of burst at the start so that, you put people off and you don't get suckered in. I'll be honest, I thought I had done enough at the start to put people off, but clearly not. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he had fun. I hope he had fun, but like, man, I'd be pretty pissed if I burst like tens of thousands of points right at the end and didn't win. But hey, anyway, we've got ourselves a Panda Soul, which is very, very nice. I think he's definitely a champion for running Brimstone on, which is pretty cool. I think it gives him really good stats. Like, that's part of why I think this is quite decent. HP and accuracy, that's really strong for Mr. Panda. You could give him, I think he's got stuff where he takes less damage when he's asleep. I don't think that's really important. I think the stats on this are perfect. And yeah, that's leading us to a pretty solid Panda, like almost 400 accuracy. 80,000 HP, that's cool. Like I said, I have a video coming out later with a cool team. Very cool team from a viewer. So thank you to them for the Panda. So I'll try to get that out probably later today or tomorrow. Might have a few videos today. I've got an amazing team as well with like Vizix in it for Hydra coming soon. Like a team that blew my mind. Just incredible. Two teams. Got two amazing Hydra teams coming. Show you in the next couple of days. That really blew my mind. But yeah, man. Let me know. What do you think about these events? What do you think about this champion training? How many of you think I'm crazy for going 50,000 points? World number 16 for the Panda Soul. Putting my money where my mouth is. See you all next time. Goodbye.